And then I'll fantastic. Okay, good. I'm actually so happy. I'm here in Switzerland, and actually right now here with Marina, who is one of the 100-day participants who's actually coming to Nepal to meet the orphan kids too. We're walking right now into where Dr. Giovanni is doing pulse consultations. So, hey guys, we're on live with the Sunday Global Healing Miracle Call. And look who's here. We got Hilaria. We got Giovanni. Helene.
Oh, wow.
It's so fun. We have just been, yesterday, we had a really powerful clinic day. Before that, Giovanni and I were in Romania for the launch of the book in Romanian, and so many miracles happened. I look forward to sharing some of them with you. And then yesterday in Switzerland, so many beautiful things, including this wonderful woman, Marina. She brought her entire family and her dog for pulse consultation. And Giovanni, you don't know this, but when just one second, when Giovanni first took, actually you can share the story, Marina. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had my first pulse consultation in July.
Yeah, 6 months ago.
Yeah, 6 months ago. And one of the things I wanted was to ski again after a ski accident 2 years ago. I had 2 surgeries to fix my knee. One was the meniscus and another ligament. And just last week, I went skiing with my entire family. And I didn't put the brace on to stabilize my knee. I was like, I can do this. I've been working. I've been eating a lot of monk soup. And it worked. So I did a whole week of skiing. And the knee is strong and it's amazing.
Yeah. So inspiring. She broke through fear. She took a challenge, turned it into a strength. Giovanni, what's it like hearing that kind of a story?
Yeah, it's very inspiring, very happy, so that we can see in practice that following all the principle, real miracle comes and happen in the life, especially when we have determination, clear dreams. Very good.
Yeah, I know, Dr. John, we actually have the puja set up over here. Even the orphan kids, they've signed their names. And I know Dr. John would be so proud to hear this kind of a story. Also, I want to say, Marina, she's been serving with so much love. Last night during the Marma session, she translated into German and touched everyone's heart. Then on top of it, cooked all the mung bean soup for today. And so thank you so much, Marina, for serving with so much love.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. Anything you've seen on this tour, or Helena, you've seen that you want to share that's inspired you?
Hey, lots of stories.
Yeah, in fact, she just posted on her Instagram page. If you're not following the Ilaria on Instagram, do. She just posted a story of a man who came from Marma, had so much anxiety. Physically, he was great, but so much anxiety in his heart and doing great seva in this world, great service in the world. And we say the side effect is you may end up feeling very happy. And then what happened at the end of that, Marma?
Oh, it was with no pain. He was able to go with the hands and touching the heart. And he was so happy, start laughing. And he came with us to have dinner. He stayed with us. He was so happy.
Yeah, it was like spontaneous laughter.
Yeah, all the time.
It reminded me of last Sunday. Eron talked about when the breakthrough happens, you know it, because oftentimes you just start laughing because it's just so joyful and simple. The thing that's created so much stress, anxiety, worry inside of us, the breakthrough happens. And I was touched, actually, as I was translating, as Marina was translating into German, it struck me how much of our lives we focus on what we don't want. And so much stress comes, so much anxiety comes. But sometimes the simplest thing we can do is focus on what do you want. In fact, it was so sweet. Helena, can you share a story about you and yeah. You're gonna love this story.
Oh, I'm so happy I get the chance to share that, because that helped us so much. So basically we were a fight, we starting almost to fight with my husband. And it's frozen, I think.
Oh no, you're still good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're almost starting to fight with my husband. And then I kind of saw that what's happening with him was starting to be like irrational. It was going against what he didn't want. And I saw myself take, I didn't say anything, but just grab him his index finger and I just started doing the mama. And then I asked him and I said, what do you want? And he said, oh, I want to have it good with my wife, Helen. And then I touched the second part and I say, okay, how would you feel? And he say, I would feel so great. And I say, what would you do? And he said, I would just let her do her thing. And I was like, I love you too. And it was and the second part is also important because I was sharing that in front of everyone, and everyone were like, "Yeah, you dress it. You're like telling your husband to do whatever you want," and I was like, "No, no, no, no." And I said, I taught him even more. I taught him to do the same thing with me, that when I'm becoming irrational and we're about to fight, that he doesn't start to argue with me or trying to say, Helen, that's this or this, but he just do the same thing.
Just grab her finger and say, what do you want?
What do you want?
Yeah.
And so it was last week, and I told him, I say, at night, I have the thing that I want to go at 10 o'clock, like Ayurveda, 10 o'clock, pizza time, I want to go to bed. Yeah. But I have this thing, irrational thing that I always think I have to save the world at the last minute at night. So I told him, in those cases, please do the mama, because I don't come on this idea on myself to do that. So last week he come and I was doing it. It was 11 o'clock. I had to do stuff and thing. It was so important. And he sneaked in the room and he pressed the mama. And I look at him, I say, I'm so tired, I want to go to bed. And I was done. So it's amazing. Yeah.
So some simple tools. Today we're going to go even deeper into this question about how in the midst of heartbreak, how in the midst of some of your deepest, darkest trials, can you find the hope and the healing? Can you transcend them? And we're going to go what we did last Sunday with Eron. He's here on the call today. We're going to look at what you did in the breakout rooms, and we're going to go on a beautiful journey together. But just from Europe, I just wanted to say, should we say we love you and with you? Yeah. Okay, come on. All right. We love you. All right, so now is actually Marina's turn to get her pulse taken for the second time ever, 6 months later. So we're going to leave the room and let you do your beautiful work. Thank you so much. Handing it back over to you, Gina.
It is so awesome to be able to see these guys together and just to see them hug and connect. I mean, do you guys really relate to that? It's just, I'm seeing heads nod. It's just like so heartwarming and so touching. I just absolutely love it. We've had such an amazing week, and you know, there's been so many people who have been, you know, putting their experiences in the chat with, and they've been connecting with their 100-day experience group, their 100-day training group. Is there anybody that would like to share something that was a real big breakthrough on this exercise this week? And just please unmute and come on and say, I know that not everybody is on the 100-day training program, but it's such a profound experience. So the questions that were being asked were the ones from the TED Talk. They were, what would you do if you had, I'm paraphrasing here, so please apologize. I apologize. If you had $10 million in the bank, and you know, what would you do? Money was not an object. Does anybody have anything that they would like to say regarding that?
I would, Jana.
Please, Luke, yes.
Yeah, I found that for me to be the most profound question, and I really spent a lot of time on that question. As some people know, I do a lot of work locally in helping the homeless with food, water, and shelter. I go out into the streets of Olympia, Washington, where I live. I go to the streets where the homeless hang out, and I give them food and water and some cash several times a week, including just yesterday. So my answer to that question was, if I had $10 million in my bank, I would do this on such a grander scale. I would create homeless shelters. I would create some sort of a fund. I would do so much to help the homeless, not only in my local area, but at least all over the country, maybe eventually all over the world. I have such a passion for helping the homeless. And that's what I would do if I had $10 million in the bank. And it warms my heart because I see the expression on their faces. When I just talk with them and I give them some things of value, they have this shock on their face, like somebody's actually taking the time to spend time with them and give them something. They say things to me like, one gentleman just yesterday said, "Sir, thank you. What an act of kindness." He had such shock and disbelief in his face, and it warms my heart. So I would do it on a much grander scale with $10 million. So thank you.
It's so wonderful. I so agree with you, Luke. There's so much. I had actually asked the questions with some of the people that I work with, and I said the other question that was if you only had 6 months to live, what would you do? You know, and a lot of them were just like, oh, I would just like not really do anything. You know, I just kind of wait out my time. And I was like, you know what? I would go and talk to as many women who have had some down and out, or any person that has been down and out, and let them know how valuable they are, and do what, you know, I would go to them and see what their heart's desire was, and to see if I could help bring it about. It's just an amazing experience. And then the other question was, if you knew that you were going to succeed at whatever you did, what would you do, and what would it be? Does anybody have anything that they would like to share regarding that? And just unmute.
Jana, I would share on kind of all three. So one of the things that I wound up realizing when I was listening to about how Dr. Naram wanted to be the best pulse taker in the world, and what would that look like, right? Being able to see 1 million or how many ever patients and stuff like that. I realized, well, that's really not what I want. So I can, even though I'm part of this, I realized I get to decide how I want to be taking this information that I'm learning and applying it in the world. And so mine is around being a health and longevity coach, but like for the planet, because I want to be able to make sure that we have not only our own health and well-being for a long time, but that the planet is healthy. And so with my many millions, I would help with managed grazing, which can help restore the water cycle and the ecosystem. And I would do things like that I want to do in my local food bank of helping people learn about the ancient secrets. So I'm like this seed of letting people know that these really cool opportunities exist. And then we'll count on many other people around the world to help make sure these people are taken care of in the ancient secrets.
It is so true. I love that. I love that you would be a life and longevity coach for the world. It's just so amazing, you know. And it is a process, you know, and they are questions that are so well deserving with being answered, because it's actually helping you create your future. And actually that's what Eron does with his coaching program. But before we turn it over to Eron, let's go ahead and drop into our heart. I have a video queued up by.
Actually, we do have two more people. Jana, we have two more people who have their hands raised. Maybe we want to hear from them as well.
Thank you. I can't see them, so thank you.
It's Catherine and Tatiana.
Yes, Tatiana.
Hi, everyone. I really was really surprised for the answers, and the answers came very fast. I didn't even want to think, and I was really, really surprised what it came. All my life I help people, and I love to help people. But the answers came, if I would like, I'm going to live 6 more months, the answer definitely was that I would like to translate the book in Bulgarian. And this is exactly, it's a kind of my higher self moving me to more serving more people, not only the people around me, which I know. And this is with another question, it was, know what, if I can do what I can do. And it was coming, and I never thought about that to inspire people to become their own leaders. And to be out of their poverty mindset, out of that they're out of the victim set, and to be their own leaders. And about if I have $10 million, or it kind of to create this all over the world places where to be teach that. I was surprised. This was really shocking for me. I didn't expect any of that.
You have no idea how excited I am to hear that from you, because I know a little bit about your backstory. And to me, you are a gem and an angel, and you have so much value and experience to be able to share with people who are in that situation. And, you know, in that situation, it goes in layers, you know, and if you look at your own journey and, you know, you tackle the item that you're working on immediately, but then you start going into the deeper and deeper and deeper layers of where is that stored? How is my mindset with that? What are my habits and my behaviors regarding that? How can I change those? So you're getting to the core of what it is that you want to change. And it takes process. And a lot of times it takes people to be able to help. And the very best people to be able to help are the ones that have experienced those things. So it's so exciting to hear you say that. I'm glad that it was shocking and surprising, Tatiana, because you are a beautiful soul and you have an incredible story and you've been through a lot. And I believe that is to your benefit. It is the 𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕. It is the gem. It's the absolute gem.
I want to share can I share one other miracle about what you just shared, Tatiana? When we were in Zurich yesterday at the clinic, there was a beautiful couple that came from Bulgaria. They live now here in Switzerland, but they have been following the diet, have seen great benefits. They're just so lovely, these people. And when I told them that Albena had already been working on the translation of the book in Bulgarian, that when we're in Romania, Albena's like, you're so close. Now I want to work that much more, but she didn't believe there was anyone that cared. She's been working on it for 2 years and she didn't believe anyone cared about the book and being in Bulgarian. And now you're also saying, Tatiana, I literally got a message this morning from her saying, you have inspired me that there's more people that will benefit from the book in Bulgarian. And then literally about an hour, 2 hours after I read that, Tatiana, you're sharing your powerful intention too. So it's a team in a very beautiful way, which love is working through you. And it's so fun to see the miracles that happen in your life when you say yes to letting love move through you in this way. So thank you, Tatiana. I'll connect you. Actually, if you can put your contact information, something, I'll connect you right away with Albena and this other beautiful couple.
I will be happy to be connected with them. Thank you. It will be very helpful. Thank you.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Can I share just one other thing real quick?
Of course.
Jane, are you able to hear me? Can you hear that? This really touched my heart. When we were in the Romanian book launch, and I was sharing the story about my father, and I felt a prompting to ask one gentleman his name. And he says, my name is George. Same name as my dad there at the Romanian book launch. And it touched my heart. And he said, he's like, you know, he's a photography teacher, and a woman came to his studio that same day, and he felt this voice inside of him say, I need to invite her tonight. But then he's like, oh, it's a strange topic, you know, who knows what people think, you're inviting them to Ancient Secrets of a Master Healer book launch. But he did. She said yes, they both came. He actually came with his wife and her, and she was in tears almost the whole time, because she was dealing with a situation in her family, her daughter, who was struggling with a challenge in which she felt like she was divinely guided to this. Now, at the same time, George brought his family as well. And while Giovanni was in the pulse consultations, I spent a lot of time talking with him. And at one point he looked at me, he says, why are you spending so much? He'd asked a lot of questions. And the final thing is this, why are you spending so much time? And why aren't you like Berlin or
hear the
London?
question now.
I don't know, Romania. Why are you spending so much time? I heard Dr. Ram's words. Can you hear me still?
It broke up a little bit. So can you repeat the question that he asked you?
Oh, darn it. I think we might have lost him.
Yep, he's frozen now.
What a cliffhanger. Oh.
Yeah, he said, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No. Okay. Long story short, he says, after all the questions, the most important question, we're just a little family from a little village in Romania. Why are you spending so much time with us instead of being in some big city or with some great people? And I heard Dr. Ram's words saying that the divine is in each person. You know, we're not doing some great favor to people by showing up. They're doing us a great favor by letting us clean the temple. The divine is happy. It's not about religion. It's beyond any religion. But like you are guided to invite, and all we know is sometimes it's beyond mind, but we did to do the things from love. And that's why we're here. Who knows, but one of your sons is going to do something amazing on this planet or whatever. But for whatever reason, we know we're supposed to be here now. And then he's just like, that is the best answer. So who knows why Tatiana, you guided to translate the book into Bulgarian, or everyone, why you're called, why you're going through the challenge, the struggle, the heartache that you've been going through. So I'm so happy that you're here today in this environment so we can go beyond mind and go into our hearts. So back to you, Jana.
So true. It's so true. There is no accident that we're here on this call today in this group, incredible group. Catherine, I would love to hear from you.
Good morning, everyone. When I did the exercises, I was just amazed at how big my being allowed me to dream or to think. And I had one particular wish I've had in my heart for a while and forgotten about it, but I've always wanted to create some kind of a holistic healing center, like an integrative center to bring the best of what's happening in the world into one place. And especially because there's been so many situations in my life and the people that I've loved, but they didn't have money. They didn't have access. They didn't know that there were so many options. I'm one of those people who's I've experienced symptoms after COVID for over a year now, and the suffering that I see is horrendous. And many of them they're too sick to do anything for themselves. They don't have anyone to take care of them. They can't work. They have no money. And I'm like, this isn't okay. It's not okay for people to be ill and have no support. And that is a deep desire for me to create something. And believe it or not, it popped in my head and I thought, well, should I share this? Because Dr. Naram said, well, be careful what secrets you share about what, you dream about. And I had this thought, of creating something with 𝗕𝗫𝘾𝗃𝗃 in Colorado where I live. And I'm like, oh dear, it just kind of came through really strong. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I have no idea, no plans, but it's just fabulous. And then sitting here, all of a sudden, somebody texted me in the program here and asked if I wanted to be part of the music project. I'm like, did you know I'm a musician? I don't think I've said that to anybody. It's like, so the miracles are like, wait a minute, another heart's desire is to share my love of the divine through my music. And all of a sudden people will say things to me. And I'm like, well, how did you know? So anyway, it's just beautiful and very inspiring. So thank you, everyone.
Catherine, that is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I don't doubt that you would be a collaborator in opening up a healing center in Colorado with 𝗕𝗫𝘾𝗃. And thank you for being willing and vulnerable to share your music, and that's so exciting. Thank you. I just want to make sure that Eron is on the phone. are on the call. Can you say
Yeah,
hello?
I'm here. Hi, Jana.
There you are. I just want to make sure that you are a co-host as well. I don't think that you are. Maybe Cornelia will do that. Wonderful. We're so excited to be able to hear from you. But before we do, can we drop into our from our heads to our hearts with Gary's music? That be okay?
Of course. There's never a bad time for Gary's music.
I have to totally agree. I've chosen one today that is one of my favorite ones. Whenever I need a lift or whenever I need to get centered, I always gravitate to this one. It's a very short but quick one. It's by Lisa Nichols. So let me go ahead and get my screen share. Whoops. Oh, let's see. It looks like maybe, Eron, I think oh, here it is. Okay, great. So just put your feet on the floor, take a deep breath, and just enjoy the experience.
Right now we see the 𝗕𝗘𝗼𝗀𝗏 webpage. Oh, there we go.
No, nothing's being shared.
Move around so busy.
Thank you for your patience with me. It's been a while since I've done this.
I invite you to get fully connected to your body, to your soul, and to your mind. You know, we move around so busy that we spend more time outside of ourselves than inside. So let's go in together. Visualize a serene setting, whether it be water, grass, flowers, butterflies, something bigger, more amazing than us. And I want to ask you to engage your mind, surrendering to your greatness and accepting your value. I want you to refrain from allowing your mind to ask the why, the how, the when, the where. You don't need any of those answers right now. You just need to know that it's the perfect time to set your champion free. Take a deep breath with me, allowing all other thoughts to melt away. designed for greatness. My light is meant to shine, and my job is to let it shine. I am worthy of healthy, whole, and complete love. No one can design my destiny but me. I will get to my goals with a no matter what mindset. I move forward with the understanding that quitters never win and winners never quit. And I have been designed as a winner. You have everything you need within you to experience the life that you want to experience. Bliss, joy, peace of mind, and crazy amazing love are all yours. It's all available to you. This world would not be the same if you weren't here. And your life belongs to you, but it also belongs to us. When you win, we win. And when you have a breakthrough, we celebrate that breakthrough with you as you continue to set your champion free. I say thank you. You prayed the prayer. You did the work. You said yes. Set your champion free.
I just love that one. I love how it elevates my mind and how it puts me into my champion. It's beautiful. Eron, I'd love to have you join and be able to share with us. Last week, we kind of were in a cliffhanger we were kind of left in that wonderful mode. I'd like you to continue.
Sure. Well, it may have felt like a cliffhanger, but everything is just a continual flow of the current. And so being here, seeing everybody, especially hearing that music that you just played, so in line with everything we've been talking about and everything that happened last week. And I want to just check from a show of hands if for all the people that were on last week that went into a breakout room and had a chance to go through some of the art experience or the reframe. Did anybody have a chance to do that? Yeah, okay, great. I got a lot of hands here. And how many people didn't? So see how many people are kind of entering into this conversation newly. Beautiful. Okay, so a nice mix. Well, maybe we'll start to come back a little bit to the beginning, and just to set it up for those that weren't here last week. And the process that we talked about is one that I like to call the art process, how to live life as art. And art stands for acknowledge, reframe, and transcend or transmute. And it's a process that we can go through for any experience that we're having that is a challenge, because the ancient secret principle of 𝗕𝗘𝗼𝗶𝗵, to welcome any unexpected guest as God, him or herself, it sounds great on paper, but how do we actually do that when something really challenging happens that we were not expecting, that we didn't consciously want, and now it's here, and we're supposed to say, oh, hey, welcome, great. Hi, thing that I wanted nothing to do with, it's here. Oh, perfect, yes, come in, please. That's not our natural feeling, and that's perfect, and it's okay. So there are things that we can do to be able to actually get into the spirit and the energy of it to be able to do that. And I want to add a little bit to the conversation, but before we do that, anybody that would like to share from their experience last week, because I think it's so helpful to set the tone, especially for those that are coming newly into the conversation, when we hear about experiences that other people had, to say something that was so powerful for them, of having that desire to know more. So if you guys, anybody can raise your hand that would like to share about your experience last week, and then we'll build from there. And don't be shy about it.
So maybe it might be helpful to jog their memory about the questions that.
Okay, great, sure. So I tell you what, why don't we do this? Why don't we go into it a little bit, and then that might jog the memory, and then we can potentially do it. I think Clint was thinking maybe we would even do it in a group setting. So we talked about this process of acknowledging, Eric, reframing, and transcending.
Can I call you back in an hour?
I want to take a step back a little bit before that and set some foundational pillars so that it feels so strong and so resonant, because we have all these parts. We have our hearts, we have our mind, we have our body, and everything that's happening is happening within our consciousness. And the heart, that's why we always want to drop into the heart, because the heart knows. The heart is steeped in truth, but the mind can be all over the place. So God bless the mind. We don't want to bypass the mind. The mind is a tremendous slave and a horrible master, but it's important. And so we want to get the mind on board with what the heart is sharing. So let's go through these 4 really foundational pillars that we can always come back to. And it's a good practice to be able to have this, that if the mind starts to get caught into something, it can come back and be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This is rational. Number 1, everything is energy. Everything. And whether you believe spiritually, whether you believe scientifically, any lens that you want to look at the world. And when we say everything is energy, another way to say that is there is nothing in all of existence that is non-energy. And since everything is energy, it is all a singular field. What science tells us, our scientists say that there is a singular, infinite, non-dying field of energy from which all of life is created. And then our spiritual conversation says there is an eternal, non-dying, infinite source from which all of life is created. So we're all kind of talking about the same thing, right? So everything is energy. Number two, so that's that first pillar. The second pillar is that energy creates matter, and matter does not create energy. So what's matter? Anything that's tangible, our hands, you know, feel your bodies. You can feel your bones and your skin and your face, and you look around, you're sitting on a chair and there's walls. That's matter. That's the physicality. And it feels so real. And we have all of our senses, our 5 senses. And those are created from energy, that same source energy, not the other way around. So you have your skin, and underneath your skin is your bones, and underneath your bones, there's muscles and there's blood, and you go down into your cells, which are the building blocks of the physical world. And inside those are atoms. Does anybody know what's inside of an atom? It's 99.9999999% empty space. And we can say that like, oh, okay, but when you really drop into that, that is mind-blowing. What is that saying, you guys? What it is saying is that the physical world is virtually massless. But it's not that there's nothing, because we can measure it. We can measure the frequency. So energy creates matter. That is the second pillar. Number 3, we each get to choose where we focus our energy. So right now, a lot of you are focusing your energy on listening to me speaking. Great. And some of you are focusing on something else. And maybe you are going to get up and go focus on making a sandwich. Whatever you do, anything you're doing, it's like you have that control. You get to choose, where am I going to focus it? Am I going to focus it here? Am I going to focus it here? This life-giving, this force, this source that creates everything in the physical world. And you get to choose. And then the fourth foundational pillar is that where you focus your awareness, where you focus your attention, that's where your energy goes. So again, everything is energy. All that energy creates the world. You get to choose where you put it, and then where you put it is where the energy flows towards. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Does that make sense? Everybody with that? Cool. So now, what happens when something challenging comes about? And I'll give a personal example, but we could go all day long, any personal example. And I shared last week about my spinal cord injury. So for those that don't know, I had a spinal cord injury about 5.5 years ago, had a big fall, woke up in an ICU, currently living as a paraplegic. And I talked a little bit about that. And I think what I want to do is, although it's a kind of a big experience, let's look at a different example. And I mentioned it toward the end of the call, but I see my beautiful wife, Heidi, who a lot of you know is on the call. I want to talk about how we connected. So a few years after that, I had already been 3 years into this experience of a lot of loss, and so many things had happened. And then I broke my femur, the biggest bone in my body. And I'd been through so much work, you guys, and I'd been doing this process and everything. And it was like, oh, gosh, here we go again. And how many of you can relate to the idea of doing the work? You're showing up, you're feeling good, you're following the light, and then the bottom falls out again. And then it's like, come on, hey, I thought you were with me. What's going on, right? And that happens, and you just, a lot of times you feel like that, okay, what am I gonna do? That's it, I've had enough. So the process, you have to feel it. You have to allow yourself, whatever that initial emotion comes in, great, it's telling you something. That is also God. That is also the energy. It's all here for a purpose. Whether we allow ourselves to get consumed by it or not, or whether we want to keep our focus on awareness of it, that is our choice. Because remember, and this is so crucial, before we get into speaking about any examples, that's why we're kind of looking at these foundations, because when the actual challenge comes in, a lot of times we forget this. Nobody and no thing ever has control over where you focus your attention and your energy except for you. Yes? We agree?
Yes, I love this statement because it makes us 100% responsible for our life experience. Even though sometimes we don't feel like we are, 100% responsible, but we get to choose. And I love this concept.
Yeah, and that's so important. And when things are good or even just neutral, we can sit in that like, yeah, of course. But then when something really challenging comes up, it's still true. And that's why we want to have these foundational pillars to come to, because it's so easy to forget this when we're in the challenge. And so back to my own personal example. So I went in the hospital, found out that I'd broken my femur. And I'd already, like I said, guys, been through so much, 3 years in. And my first thought was, oh, gosh, here we go again. Come on. How many more times do I have to do this? How many more times do I got to be in the hospital? Whatever it may be. And I went through this art process. So I acknowledged, okay, the first step is so important of delineating between the objective and the subjective, the perspective. So the objective said, okay, even before I felt it, I wasn't feeling like, oh, this is great, but I knew this, the things that I'm talking about. So I could go through the practice even before I really felt it. Could speak truth to power, okay? So I'm in there, I said, okay, I don't know why this is happening again. I don't know what the purpose is of this. I'm in the ICU, it's during COVID, there's it's packed. But I do know that there's a reason for it. I trust that. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't see it right now. I don't feel it right now. But okay, all right, I trust you. I trust you because this is the process. This is how it goes. Okay. And because I got shifted myself by speaking that to get out of my way of feeling like a victim, because you can either experience yourself as a victim, and when that happens, that means life is happening to you. Or you can experience yourself as a creator, and that means, oh, I'm happening to life. And you can't be both. Now, the truth is, even when you're experiencing yourself as a victim, you're still creating that. But either way, life happening to me, I'm happening to life. So when I was in the hospital, I said, okay, this is happening for a reason. here we go. Whatever it is, I trust it. And after I spoke that, I started to get these downloads when I was sitting in the hospital. And it was getting me really fired up and really catalyzed. And it was really strong. And the message was something, it was like, stop waffling and taking control of your life and that kind of thing. It was so strong, but it felt like it wasn't just for me. And so I decided to do a Facebook Live. And I'm sitting in my hospital room and there's things beeping, you know, and I'm just chatting. And I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have had those downloads. I wouldn't have had that Facebook Live if I hadn't shifted my perspective to say, all right, thank you. I trust you. I wasn't super happy at this point, you guys, right? You don't have to be that way, but you can still have that trust. You can still say, okay, let's do this. So I did that Facebook Live and I don't even remember what was said. It just kind of came through. And the next day I get a message from a woman who lived thousands of miles away. And sorry, let me pull my Zoom up. And the message said, hey, I saw your Facebook Live last night and I really connected with it. And thank you so much. It's exactly what I needed to hear. And I just want to wish you luck on your surgery today and send love. And that was it. And that's how I met my wife.
That's so amazing. I love it.
I mean, it's the most incredible thing. And I can't stress this enough, you guys. Of course, all the different pieces of it. But if I had not chose to shift my perspective from victim to creator, from feeling that I was being punished to feeling gratitude in the midst of the challenge, before the resolution, none of that would have ever happened.
True. I love how this so perfectly fits in to the ancient secrets. You know, when the 𝗕𝗘𝗼𝗘𝗏𝗏, the unexpected guest, why is this happening to me? I can't believe this is happening. Why am I in the hospital again? That's the 𝗕𝗘𝗼𝗏𝗏. And being able to shift that into, okay, this is the unexpected guest. I'm going to honor this unexpected guest. And then you moved into the gratitude. But I think you probably did, what do you want a little bit? What do I want? I want to get out of this mood. I want to be in a place of uplifted feeling, and then moving into the gratitude and being able to hear your intuition of being able to jump onto a Facebook Live helped you meet your beautiful wife, Heidi. And she is absolutely a beautiful, beautiful being. She's just kind to the core. I love her. So.
And, you know, and I know a lot of you guys, look, I would break my leg 1,000 more times to have that happen. Now, that example had something unfold that happened pretty quickly. It doesn't always happen that the resolution shows itself, that you're like, oh, this is why that happened. It might not always be that quick. And also, you may never actually know it directly. But with the connection of everything, it's either all God or it's no God. It can't be in between. It's either all energy or it's no energy. There is no, that goes back to pillar number 1, there is no non-energy, singular field. So there are things that could transpire. If you take a more zoomed out lens, there are things that could transpire that you may never know of. I'm going to give you one more short example. And a couple of years ago, I was looking for a house and I needed to find one pretty quickly. There was one that was popping up on Zillow and I just never reached out for whatever reason. I looked at it again and I realized, what am I doing? This is like the most perfect place for me. And I reached out and I spoke to the realtor and she said, And I told her my story, and the whole house was wheelchair accessible. She's like, I would love to rent it to you, but I already promised it to somebody else. I had seen this house up for like a week and a half. And I said, I got to ask you, when did they call you? And she said, like 4 hours ago. I'm like, oh, why did I wait? Oh, and it was so gut wrenching. And she said, well, look, I still need to run a credit check. So I'll let you know in 3 days. And it was really tough, you guys. Why? Okay. And so I'm going through the process. Okay, if I don't, I'm going to learn something. Maybe the lesson is to not wait or whatever it is. But then I was looking at pictures of the house, and I had that voice in my head, and I bet a lot of you guys can relate to this. It said, don't get your hopes up. Don't look. Does anybody relate to that? If there's something you want, like you really want. And I had that voice that says, don't get your hopes up. Don't get so attached to this house, because what if you don't get it? That's the victim. And said, okay, well, wait a minute. I'm the creator. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. I don't know. That's going to come in time. But where can I reframe it now? If I don't give my energy towards the possibility of it, it'll never happen. If I do give my positive energy, there's a possibility. So I said, I'm going to look at these pictures of this house, and I'm going to feel me in that house. I'm going to feel my children in there, me and my kids. And that felt really good. And it's like, whatever, even if I get it, it feels good. And I said, you know what? Even if I don't get this house, there's another one that's going to come through. It's okay. And I started to feel better. But where the real breakthrough came, you guys, is that after that helped me actually feel good, and we all want to feel good, and we could choose that. I still was late to call. I still didn't have the house, but I felt better. Great. Who cares? I just want to feel better. Then I said, okay, well, if I don't get the house, then somebody else is going to be there. And it's interesting because I feel myself getting emotional now talking about it, because at the time, then I started to picture another family in that house. And that is actually when I got emotional about it at the time, not when when I felt my own kids, I felt good. But when I felt another family being in there and that home was for them, I actually felt more emotional, because who knows? I said, what if whoever moves into in that house, maybe it's going to be the best friend of one of my kids. Maybe whoever moves in that house is going to be an EMT and is actually going to save one of my children's lives. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? We can come up with all these stories. Maybe whoever moves in that house that house was made for them, and they're going to heal, and they're going to create something in that house to give to that world that is going to benefit humanity in ways that will never, you know what I mean? Who knows? And then my heart was like bursting. It felt so good. And this is what I was coming back to, what I was saying. We may never know. Now it turns out I got the house. And it was incredible. 3 days later, I get a call from the woman who says, it's whatever it was, she had too much debt, it's yours if you want it. It never would have happened if we didn't have that. Now, but even if the house didn't come, at that point, I was so unattached because I felt whatever happened. So this is the process, that you don't become dependent on your external circumstances to shift, for you to be able to generate the quality of the experience that you want in life. You guys get that?
Yes.
Awesome.
Let me make sure. Don't depend on the external circumstances of your life or what you view it's going to be, but rely on what you're creating inside, that gratitude, that positive visualization. Did I get that correctly?
Exactly. And the visual is the actual feeling, because remember, energy creates matter. We have the sovereign choice of where we direct our energy. So therefore, you are in control of choosing the experience of life. You may not be able to choose if it rains or not, but you can choose whether you want to curse the rain or whether you want to dance in the rain. That's your choice.
I love that. You know, this piece is so critical because so many of us, we haven't been to that place, or we're so used to those negative or those disempowering processes, you know, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get the house, you know, what am I going to do, you know, and moving into that worry, into that anxiety. And it's almost like, you know, the rubs in the road are so strong that they're almost like tracks, and they keep us on that track. But we've got to find a way to be able to get off that track and get into a new positive way, a different way, a more empowering, I don't want to say positive, but I want to say more empowering way. And this is a process. You know, I know that when I started to do this type of work, and I'm still not all the way there, it took me a long time to be able to stop myself. Like you said, that the first pillar was that awareness. What was the first pillar again?
Well, the first pillar is just on everything being energy, but one of the 4 foundational pillars is where your attention goes, your energy flows.
So I'm thinking of the word art, and I'm thinking acknowledgement. So I had to acknowledge what I was doing so that I could reframe it and then move into transformation. So and that acknowledgement, sometimes it's such a pattern and a habit that it's like we just don't see it. It's like when you drive to work every single day, a lot of times you just don't even notice the buildings and the trees that are around us because we're so familiar with it. And that's the way that it was for me when I started to move through this process. So beautiful. Thank you so much. We want to hear some more.
Sure. So, you know, I think, you know, we can continue to, there's more, each piece of this just strengthens the foundation, the pieces of it. I want to open it up right now, though, to see if there's anybody, I know, so, you know, we went through the breakout rooms last week and we're able to work this with each other, and we'll do that again this week. But I want to know if there's anybody who is open to sharing on the call in front of everybody that has a challenge or something that's really difficult in their life right now, that they feel called, that they'd like to go through this process, that is open to sharing it, and that we can work on it together. I'll do it with you. And
Lori immediately has her hand up.
Amazing, cool. So we'll put her net out there. I know it's all great to talk about this. Let's see if it actually works, right? Let's go through the process. So
Lori.
So I saw Lori, and then I saw Manira also put her hand up, and then Nehemiah. So let's start with Lori. We'll just go in the order that they came and see how much time. I definitely don't have time for everybody. So Lori, if you want to come off a mute.
I am.
Oh, you are great. Okay. Hi, Lori. Where are you? There you are.
Thank you so much for your story and your strength and your wisdom. And anyway, I really appreciate it. And last week I was really sad because the group that we got were sharing beautiful stories, but it wasn't the process. And I really wanted to do the process. So I am so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, sure, of course. And I want to be present too with the ancient secret here, as you're saying, of course, the 𝗕𝗘ci 𝗸𝗃𝗏, but the idea that in every challenge is the seed of opportunity.
Yeah.
So without the challenge, you don't have the opportunity to have the breakthrough. So to go back to my example, if I hadn't have broken my leg, I wouldn't have met my wife. It's not just if I hadn't reframed how I viewed it, it's if it didn't actually happen, I wouldn't have even had the opportunity to reframe.
Yes, and if they would have been sharing the stories in the breakout room, Lori may not be here right now with you.
That's it. I love that.
Perfect. Exactly. Right. Yeah. And now you start to see, the more that you start to think in that way, it comes back to, oh, yes. And then, oh, thank you. And then right now in this moment, I'm so glad you brought that up, Jaina, because Lori, you might have felt frustration. Oh, I wanted to share, I wanted to go through the process. And right now in this moment, bam, thank God my group didn't do it. Right?
Yeah.
So here's the
fine with it during the time because I trusted that whoever needed to share and whatever was coming out was meant to be, and I was okay with that. But I think because of what you're saying and what I'm trying to grasp now is because I was relaxed and because I was okay with that, then this showed up. So I guess where my question is, and what I have a challenge is how to, I don't know how to, okay, so I have leukemia.
Okay.
And no, my body is experiencing leukemia. And so many things have come through that with being out of work and my physical and being in the hospital for 3 months and then being in the hospital again for 3 months. And now I have aplastic anemia and I was only able to live with transfusions every other day. And almost every day I was having transfusions in those hospitals for 3 months. So I'm not sure how I can view that. It seems like you can see it in the future now, or backtrack, you can see it. Yes, that moment caused this, that moment caused this. I now have my beautiful wife. But I don't have that beautiful moment. So it's like expecting me to do that without the beautiful moment. So it's a matter of trusting that it's really trusting. I guess the way it almost feels is I have to accept the fact that it's okay that God uses me. That's what it feels like. It's like, so I have to just trust that everything may not be in my timeline, but I have to trust that God's using me in a bigger timeline. So I have this little timeline and this big timeline, and I have to just trust that so I can live in this space, but I don't know. I just don't know how to get past this.
So beautiful.
Tired of the health issues, right? And I'm like, how can this be a gift? I guess that's the real question. How can I see this as a gift? Oh.
Yes. And so I'm just writing things down as I hear that. I like to chat if you guys hear typing or that this is what I'm doing to put these down. First of all, thank you so much for sharing this. Now, before I say anything, I want to ask you guys, to the group. So Lori has come on and just stated and shared the challenge she's going through. And she's like, I have leukemia. I'm in and out of the hospitals. I'm tired of all these health issues. And then what I heard her say was, maybe God has bigger plans for me. Maybe there's a bigger timeline that I don't know about. Maybe there's something that's happening that I don't see, but I just need to trust that it's all happening. And this is what she was saying just in the exploration of talking about her issue. I know how I felt. Did anybody else feel recognition for themselves of possibility in a challenge you're having by just hearing Lori state her issues? So we haven't even gone into it yet. And Lori, just by you in the exploration process of sharing what's happening, you've already impacted people in a positive way. And this is important too, to recognize we all do this. You were saying these things that were so powerful and so reflective, and you ended by saying, I don't know. And we all do that. Heidi, my wife, called me out on that yesterday. And we always say that. We say these profound things and say, I'll shut up now, or you do know. But really, so let's go through this. So we're going to acknowledge what's happening. So you're saying, I'm tired of all these health issues. I'm in and out. What's it all happening for? Great. So it's important. And how do you feel? How does it, genuinely, just speak from your real truth? How does it feel going in and out of the hospital? How does it feel dealing with all this stuff, Lori? Oh, you're on mute.
It keeps popping off under mute. Okay, thank you. I think it's a dual type of feeling, right? Because I do it in my mind so much. Some of it, I just numb my way through it and I just go through it. I go through the footwork without emotion. So there's part of me, I mean, people were like, how did you stay so positive 3 months at a time in a hospital, you know? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I just numb myself down and that's how I handle it.
Yeah. Okay. So you're feeling numb about it. Do you feel fear with what you're going through?
No.
No fear at all. You're just kind of tired of having to deal with it.
I want to be able to do the things that I love that having low platelets don't allow me. So you
can't do the things that you love.
Right.
Yeah. What are some of those things? What are those things that you love?
I love rock climbing. I love rock climbing. And because of my low platelets, if I do a swing or a fall and I have internal bleeding, my body won't be able to stop it.
Okay. So you can't rock climb.
Right. And then the second thing is part of me, and I think, I don't know, I've wanted a relationship for a long time and I'm very angry at God that I'm like, something, you're not bringing it to me. So I know there's some reason, but now it's like, if I met somebody, do I tell them I have leukemia? Do I tell them? Now it's like, well, now what happens? Even if the relationship comes up, do I tell them I have leukemia? Do I not tell them? Who wants to have a relationship with somebody that's already sick?
Well, you know, I'll tell you just the personal reflection on that.
I'm sure you have one, because that's so right in my face truth. Yeah.
I'll tell you, believe me, when after my injury, I got divorced and I was thinking, here's my profile on Tinder: divorced, paraplegic, father of two, looking for same. I remember specifically having a conversation with my friend Jason as I'm rolling down the street to therapy. And I said, man, I don't know what is going on here, but I do know that whoever falls in love with me with this situation, God bless it, that is going to be real love. And I will know that there's no other ulterior motive that this person has. It's not about anything else but a deep connection. So God bless it that I got nothing else there that seems appealing. You know, so there's that piece. That's just a personal reflection. But let's come back to this. So now we acknowledge I don't have a relationship with anybody. I'm experiencing leukemia. I can't rock climb. So the objective pieces is I'm experiencing leukemia. The objective, that's what you're experiencing. The objective experience is that I was told that my platelets would go down. The objective experience is I am not currently in a romantic relationship. The perception is I'm angry at God. I'm tired of doing this. So those are the perceptions of it.
And like you said, it's that I want to believe and yet it doesn't show up. And then I want to believe and then it doesn't show up. And then I want to believe and it doesn't show up. And it's this constant, it's like, okay, I get myself feeling good. I get myself trusting life. I get myself, and then boom, like you said, you know, it's just that boom, here we are again. Okay. So I obviously didn't shift enough into the infinite.
So, and then even there, it's beautiful. God, and thank you so much for this sharing. You're doing so good. So I want to believe it doesn't show up. I'm doing it. It's not showing up. And then what you just said is so powerful. Basically, you said, obviously, I didn't do it right. I'm not doing it right. It didn't show up. I'm not in the infinite. I'm not praying enough. I'm not practicing enough. I didn't go deep enough. Does it feel like you're being punished sometimes?
Yeah, it does feel like it. And it feels like, yeah, it feels like, well, I guess life is supposed to be hard, I guess, or life is supposed to be bad, or life is hard, right? It's that, yeah. It does feel like punishment, a constant punishment.
Yes. So let's get into your world a little bit now, and we're not getting off of this, but so people can know you, because to be present to yourself. Lori, you seem like you have, I mean, you're on this call, a big heart, beautiful personality. Do you have desire to have a positive impact in the world? Is that something you care about?
Oh, of course. I just light up when I can help somebody. I just light up. I could spend, it's like there's no limit of energy when I'm helping somebody.
Okay, amazing. Now you say, of course, because it's an of course for you. This is important too. For a lot of people, a lot of us on this call, we're here, we want to help. We want to do good things. We want to support those we love. And we say, of course I do. But it's not an of course for everybody. That is also a choice. That is also a perspective. So acknowledge because you said, it's not everybody lights up when they help people. No, they don't. You light up. And that's, so acknowledge that of yourself. I light up when I can help somebody. Of course, I want to have an impact. There is no limit of my energy when I am in service and helping somebody. Okay, great. Now, and gosh, I feel like I'm being punished. I want to give you an example. And then this is so just a larger thing to bring in for everybody. Again, these are foundational pieces to know that we can bring in when we go through this process. So, Lori, you want to have extraordinary impact in this world. Yes? You want to do extraordinary good. I'm going to give you guys an example. What's that?
I wouldn't quite say, I'm okay with helping a few people. I don't.
But if you help one person,
extraordinary.
If you help one person, you help the whole world.
Okay.
Would you guys disagree with that?
Can I just ask, Lori, what is it that you want? Let's come back to the ancient secrets principles. What is it that you want?
I struggle with that every time it's asked. I want a healthy body, and I want a beautiful relationship. And so the things that I want is not about helping others. It's about me being able to survive happy in this life.
Okay. So you said, I want to survive happy. Now, if you want to have a healthy body, great. You want to have a beautiful relationship with another person, great. How many people, and maybe not on this call, how many people do you know have healthy bodies and are unhappy? Does anybody know anybody with a healthy body who feels unhappy?
Yes, I know a lot of people who have healthy bodies and they are very unhappy.
Do we know people that are in relationships with others, even if they're good relationships, that are unhappy?
Absolutely.
Yes. So that's great to want that healthy body. Yeah, absolutely. Great to want that relationship. But neither one of those are a source of happiness. You guys here's a secret to life. You want to know what the key to happiness is? It's happiness.
Be happy.
Yeah. Because you are the creator. You get to choose the quality of your experience. You get to project that. What do you think will attract somebody into your life? Looking for somebody to make you happy or being happy? The lighthouse brings people into the light. And then the beauty is when you realize that you're so happy in your own experience, it doesn't even matter if they come in or not. But that's where it starts, that personal exploration to self. So I want to share this one example because I know a lot of us feel I'm being punished. It's so hard. I want you to think about Navy SEALs as an example. Whatever you might think of the military, these people are elite at what they do. And so they all go to boot camp. And like, gosh, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. And then, but they want to be elite. And they go to the next level, and guess what? It gets harder. And then they say, I want to really have an extraordinary impact. And the Navy says, congratulations, thank you. Here's the next level. And it gets harder and harder and harder. Now, the Navy is not testing these men and women. We like to say that God is testing us. They are training them. This is an important distinction. We are not being tested. We are being trained. And for any one of us that have been in any sort of competitive sports, who is the coach the hardest on? The best athlete. Maybe you're a musician. Who gets the hardest part to play? The best musician.
Lori, are you hearing what he's saying?
Yes.
This is amazing. What an amazing concept.
I am intrigued.
Now, is this, Lori, would you, now, outside of your own story, your own experience, would you agree that the best musician gets the hardest part to play, that the best athlete gets the hardest assignment? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Great. So now, taking your own subjective perspective aside, you can assuredly know your truth that when you get this strong challenge, God is not saying, I hate you. God is saying, I trust you. When we are given these challenges, it is God or the universe saying, I trust you to have the most challenging assignment. Somebody's got to have it, and I trust you to do it. Just like those SEALs to have the elite impact. So now let's come back into your experience, but all of this stronger foundation, because in the self of, okay, I am going through an experience that is very, very challenging, and I light up when I can help somebody. That actually brings me joy, and I have so much energy. And as we were talking about on this call, even before me, says if somebody has gone through the experience themselves, that has so much more power. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to ask you something, Lori. Are you, and this isn't about me, but I want to give a frame. You've heard a little bit of my story. Do you feel inspired or empowered by what I've shared with you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If I hadn't gone through what I had gone through, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be in a position to empower you. Just the same that if you are not going through what you're going through now, would not have the opportunity to empower every single person that you come in contact with for the rest of your life. Do you get that?
Mm-hmm. That's huge. Yeah.
So this frame of saying, gosh, why am I being punished? It's so hard. Can you imagine the Navy SEALs being like, why are you making me do this? Why do I have to do it? Well, because you asked for it. Because you want to have an extraordinary life. Because you want to know yourself in a way of such power, of such impact, of such possibility, of such resilience, of such strength, of such will that can only be forged in the fire. How do you feel hearing this, Lori, about when you think about your experience?
There's a part of me that feels very enlightened. And then there's a part of me that feels ashamed that I'm not doing more with all of this.
Beautiful. That's so good.
I'm like, okay, so if that's really my path, then I should be stepping up and doing more. And I'm not.
Well, now you're not.
Well, I mean, that's okay, but that's right now. I have not up to now. Yeah, I'm not up to now. But now with this awareness, and it's like, okay, so it's my job to keep reframing and to use this to rise to the occasion.
Every single moment of our lives is the genesis point of the possibility of the greatest life we could ever imagine. And then the bottom could fall out again. And then guess what? The opportunity still exists. It's still
remember.
there. It's more training. So you're saying what happened, but Lori, we've never had this conversation. You've never shared in front of this group. This moment has never happened before. You've never remembered the power that you've had and the possibility of reframe. You've never given yourself the context to bring in this different possibility. And so now we can look at, you got here, I'm being punished. This is so hard. Why is this happening to me? I'm never going to have a loving relationship. I can't do the things that I want. Well, okay, great. You choose that. Here's another possibility. This is all happening for my ability to transcend my own fears. This is leading me to have an incredible impact on the world. Because of my experience, I'm going to have the strength and love and self-confidence and assurance that will attract a partner that will love me so deeply. I am going to be able to help and support people in ways that I never would have before if I hadn't gone through this experience. I am going to know myself in a way that I've never known in my own resilience because I've never had the opportunity to overcome something of this nature. I am going to have such deep trust in God that whatever happens in my life externally, I am going to be able to welcome it and know that no external circumstance can overcome my ability to generate my own happiness. That's another list of options. They're both choices, right? Neither one of those are inherent. Which one feels better to you?
The latter for sure.
Okay, well, how do you want to feel?
I want to feel hopeful. I want to feel trusting. I want to feel gratitude. I want to feel strong within my connection of source that the answers will come.
Amazing. Let's go back to one of the pillars. Now that we're in our own situation, let's go back to a pillar that exists. Nobody can take away your sovereign ability to choose where you focus your energy. So you said, I want to feel gratitude. Can any one of us or anything stop you from feeling that? No. I want to feel trusting. Okay, great. Can any one of us or anything stop you from feeling trusting?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And not only can they not stop you, not only can anything take away that power from you, but actually it is from the challenge or the polarity that provides the necessary catalyst for you as a creator to create the gratitude. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you have a high-powered flashlight and you say, I want to know how much light this flashlight can generate. What is the one thing you need to be able to test that?
Darkness.
Boom. If you went out in the day and everything was bright, you'd be like, I don't know how much light I can generate. But now the darker the night gives you the opportunity to say, wow, this light is powerful. And you got some darkness, you got some challenges, this experience of leukemia and all these things. That provides the opportunity to catalyze you to generate trust in a way that is so powerful. If you can trust God and trust yourself and generate happiness with, excuse my language, all of that bullshit happening in your life, wow, you become unstoppable.
I just have to say, what you're saying, Eron, is so powerful. And I know that sometimes when I get caught up in those moments where I can't seem to grasp hold of those happiness, I can't seem to get to be able to create that happiness. It seems like when I do come back to that gratitude, then I can find that happiness. And sometimes the gratitude is very small. I'm so grateful that I can get out of this bed. I'm so grateful that I can get myself a glass of water. So grateful that I can swallow. I'm so grateful that I have, you know, people that I can connect with. I'm so grateful. And just those small little things make a huge difference in being able to shift the possibility of bigger things to be grateful for. Because the more that I do the little slotting, the little things, the gratitude just slowly opens up more and more and more and more, because it brings acknowledgement to it. So I absolutely understand when she immediately, when Lori, when you immediately went into shame, say, oh, I'm so shameful that this didn't, that I'm not there, that I should be doing more, you know. And I loved how Eron just rephrased that and said, but you've never had this experience, nor have you had this acknowledgement before. So it gives you a chance to rebirth the moment and say, yeah, I haven't had that moment before. And now I get to choose this moment, and it's okay. So it's just such a beautiful and powerful process. And everybody in the chat, they're saying, wow, and amazing, and, you know, such a powerful process. And, you know, and Lori, we're all right there with you. We truly, truly are. So,
and Jana, I'll wrap this up, and thank you so much for that reflection. First of all, you guys, how many people are getting something positive from their own experience hearing Lori talk about this? Will you guys raise your hand so Lori can see this? Lori, do you feel this? Now, we can talk a lot. I just want you to really stop and feel this.
Very beautiful.
This is from you, Lori. This is your courage, your strength.
What happens to that little voice when we feel that power and then our little self wants to negate it? Do I just go, oh, that's an old voice, I don't need that. Remember, strength, remember, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, well, yeah, I can help people now on this because it's you guys doing it, and anybody could have shared, and you know, it's that little voice that wants to take it all away, right?
Yeah, and that little voice, 𝗕𝗘𝗼𝗾𝗶𝗚. That's the little, and there you go, right? When we talk about that laughter, when you get it, when that voice comes in, that's the voice that comes to check you to make sure that you're still generating.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. The voice that said, oh, okay, well, here, man, you're feeling so great here. How about this? Oh, yeah, but, and then you do it again. That's the work. That's the transmutation. So you acknowledge the situation, you go through it. You acknowledge the objective, and you notice your perspective. You can't have a reframe without a frame, so you frame it. And you framed it beautifully. It's so hard. It's so challenging. That's great. What are some possibilities? All those things we talked about, who knows? But now, as the creator of your life, that you have chosen the empowered, grateful, happy, strong, resilient, willful, possible outcomes, that is the literal transmutation. Because now your life gets created from that experience. And it doesn't mean that external challenges will cease.
Right, right.
God bless my external challenges didn't cease, or else I never would have met my wife. But who knows? But who knows? But all you can control is yourself, that generative power, that possibility. So this is the process. And each time, as I said, forged in the fire, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger and more resilient. And you're continuing to grow. We're continuing to evolve. We want that. Every hero embraces struggle, but they don't suffer. But they all embrace the struggle because that is what allows them to grow. That is what allows the trust to be strong. That is allows you to be in the world and not of the world. That is what allows you to not have your happiness, your joy, your peace, your contentment be dependent on external circumstances. So Lori, how do you feel right now?
Quite hopeful.
And you wanted to feel hopeful. Do you feel grateful?
I feel very for this moment, for this call, for this shift, for this, what did you call it? I loved it. The Genesis point. I love that term.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you feel grateful, you feel hopeful. Do you feel happy? I mean, you've been laughing. It's hard to laugh when you don't feel happy. Do you feel happy?
I don't know about that one.
You don't know about, well, okay.
No,
Well,
I'm just teasing. No, I do feel a lighter, I do feel a higher sense. Yes.
yes, beautiful. And this is and you still have the experiences, but this is it, you guys. This is the work. This is how we get the mind on board with the heart. And this is where we get to create from. And we always have this possibility. And then something happens and we forget. And it could be something, get cut off on the highway or something even more challenging. But that's why these immutable truths never go away. We just have to choose to apply them when we're going through this experience eternally. And we get stronger and happier and more grateful. To you're just so silly grateful for no reason. And the whole world is burning down. And you say, I'm going to go grab some marshmallows and a graham cracker. And that's just what happens, you know. Can we all thank Lori and send her some love? Maybe just rub your hands together and send her so much love and thanks.
Lori, you're amazing. We love you.
Yeah, come
So
off
inspiring.
mute. I want you guys to come off mute, everybody, and just share with Lori what this was for you, or type it in the chat that she could see. What was this experience for you?
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Lori.
Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Everything with James.
Love you and with you, Lori. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Lori, you can do it.
We are with you.
We are with you.
You're powerful.
You are not alone.
Example.
Carry this in your heart.
This
Listen to
is
your
right
heart.
here. Lord, you have blessed everyone on this
Just listen to your heart.
you already are healthy and strong. We are blessed.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Thank you for this experience.
You're beautiful.
Wow. And the last thing I want to say here, I'll turn over to Jana. I know for if anybody, you guys that hasn't had a chance to speak to, reach out to me. I'm available. Let's chat. Manira, Nehemiah, my dear friend, reach out to me. We'll talk and we'll do it. I'm happy to do it, or anybody else.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. This was very, very powerful. And I think the beauty, a lot of it is, so much of this I've heard before, right? But not in this exact way, in this exact moment. And this is what I needed. So thank you so very much for the opportunity. And Cornelia, I don't know, on a phone, can I save the chat?
I don't know if you can it on the phone. I'm not really a phone person, but I can definitely send you the chat.
If you could do that, I would greatly appreciate it, because I was trying to stay present with him, so I couldn't read everybody's beautiful comments. So thank you.
Now, I also want to check you guys. You see how you don't need it. It was great we did that. You guys can do that with yourself, right? You can do it with each other, right? There's no wrong way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. It's just reinforcement and having this power. And the last thing I'm going to say to this, and such a beautiful experience, Lori, I'm so grateful. Thank you for that opportunity. And we talk about, oh, but what happens again? What if everything that you've experienced through all of this was all just to have this moment that we just had, so that there's 118 people around the world that could be impacted so powerfully in their own lives by hearing your story, that their lives and their families' lives and their friends' lives are permanently and forever more positively affected because of your opportunity to share in this moment that you wouldn't have if you hadn't gone through everything. Would that have been enough? 𝗕𝗖𝗎𝗓. There's nothing else that has to happen. Thank you.
What a beautiful, beautiful experience. Thank you so much. I can see that so many of us connected with our own challenges, and we were basically in your shoes, Lori, and we love you. Thank you so much. Oh, amazing. So we are at the hour and a half mark. Cornelia, are we going to do breakout rooms, or is it time to go? Oh, you're muted.
There's always time for breakout rooms. If you have the time to stay on, as usual, I will open them up, and then you can just stay as long as you want.
That would be wonderful, because I think that there is a lot of people that had things in their mind through this process, and it would give a chance to share. So wonderful. So while Cornelia is getting those breakout rooms, why don't we just do our traditional I love you and I'm with you. So everybody unmute. I love you and I'm with you.
And I'm with you.
I'm with you.
I'm with you. Love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Thank you, Erin.
Love you and I'm with you.
Lori.
I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
And I'm with you.
Down with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Love you
Love you and I'm with you. Love you and I'm with you.
All of you.
Love you and I'm with you. Love you and I'm with you.
Lori, love you and I'm with you,
Love
Jane.
you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you. Love you and I'm with
Yeah,
you.
love you and I'm with you, Cornelia. I'm with you, everyone.
Love you and I'm with you.
Jana, there was a question. What is the question for the breakout room? Do you have any?
I think it's, what did you get from this process, and what did it bring up for you? What is it that you would like to share? Would you like to share your own experience and have a little bit of a process with going through this acknowledgement and reframe and transformation through the 4 pillars of Eron? Can you help me with the 4 pillars?
Everything is energy. Energy creates matter. Matter does not create energy. You have the sovereign choice of where you focus your energy. And where your energy goes, where your attention goes, is where your energy flows. And from there, you can go through the process as we witnessed today. But yeah, share with each other what came through. And I would really invite you guys to, maybe somebody can go through that as a group, and to go through the experience, because we all can do it. We all can do it. Whatever, feels best for everyone. Stay in this resonance of possibility and gratitude and creatorship.
Okay, and I open up the rooms.